Hello everyone, good evening, hope that you're well, and welcome to just the update of today. Obviously need to go through the questions from the last Champions live stream, so I think we'll just go straight into that. It's obviously Saturday evening, hope that you're all having a nice one and enjoying yourselves. Here, Bitcoin literally is really not really doing anything. Still very much range bound. I've actually not taken any trades over the last few days, and if you're in the, I suppose you in the contenders wouldn't really know this anyway, but in the champions group, I've really hardly been trading at all. I think in probably in comparison to maybe a few months back, I really have hardly been trading at all. Really for the past few weeks, like in terms of scalp trades, I've really not been scalp trading at all. And over the last 2 days themselves, I've taken 0 trades. So yeah, like lately for me, I'm really not taking much trades, but this is not because there isn't trades. It's just because of for me, it's just like I've not really got my head in the right space. You know how we always say like psychology and emotions are really a big factor of trading, and sometimes even when you got the technicals on lockdown, it all comes down to like your headspace and where you are. And just for me, I don't feel I'm in a good place to be scalp trading. So I'm really not taking much at the moment, and yeah, I mean, that's absolutely fine though. It's not like I'm like I just I'm really not taking much trades at the moment. There obviously are some trades to be had here, but I mean, there's I'm happy to give it a bit of time. And anyway, let's go into the questions that you had then. So there's 3 sheets of questions. The first one is, do you foresee another? Obviously, this was from last Sunday. So yeah, the guy's question is Whiskey. He says, do you foresee another fake out of the triangle? Well, obviously that has happened. So in retrospect, I would have answered it the same way anyway, because his question is do we foresee a fake out of the triangle? And obviously we had this lower trend line of the triangle. Support, lost. Well, I would argue this is a fake out because obviously, if people are shorting this breakdown, they are probably envisaging it to be a proper breakdown, aren't they? And in the end, it just turned into a range, bounced off the value area low, done a swing failure pattern at this low, and headed back up. So, I mean, I would have said the same answer last week. It's like, I wouldn't be thinking that this is going to be like a massive breakdown towards much lower levels, because at the end of the day, you are in a range, okay? And, you're in a range. So yeah, the triangle broke down, and all it done was break down to the low of the range. Okay, so the triangle was helpful obviously while we were within it, and then it broke, and just bounced off the range low basically. And then obviously on the way back up, but this was back a few days ago now, we obviously came into the CC, and from the CC we've got a bit of a retracement down as well. So that's that question. So yeah, I guess overall I would say it kind of was a fake out of the triangle again, yes. What are you looking for when checking anchored VWAP? So I like to check the anchored VWAPs just to see like where that sort of, so I'll show you the 2. So we have contenders in here as well. So I'll show you the 2 anchored VWAPs that I took. This would have been from Sunday's Champions live streams. So we had these 2 anchored VWAPs running. So you might be wondering, these are a bit random places, no? The reason I've taken it from here is because I feel that this includes all of the prior volume, the move prior to the breakdown. I've wanted to include all of the consolidation range prior to the breakdown, and that brings your anchored VWAP in at around 43k. And then I wanted to include all of the volume, prior to that really big range that was put in after the first low, the consolidation that included all of that up into the all-time high, and obviously, well, everything since then. And that gives you your anchored VWAP coming in at around 51k. So these are just like, for me, important levels, where you're averaging in the volume. And that's why I took it from here. because this was the consolidation price of the breakdown, and why I took it from here was this was the whole consolidation after that first high before, you know, a really big breakdown. So that's why I've taken those two anchored VWAPs from those places. And for me, they are important, yeah. With the bullish scenario where... no, you know, I'm not really the type of trader that's thinking like, oh, there's going to be an alt season, or there's going to be this, or going to be that. I think each chart you can literally trade for itself. Like literally, I didn't actually take this one, but I had the alerts, and if I was in a good frame of mind, I would have taken it. I know DOTS back tested the CC. That was a really, really good opportunity for, like, you know, for scalp traders or even day traders. I know DOT back tested the CC. I know Ethereum came down and took some lows. So there's been like good day trades on the altcoins. I haven't actually taken any of them, but you know, I wouldn't be thinking to myself, oh, the altcoins are going to do really well today, or the altcoins are going to do really bad today. I think you just look at each chart on its own. And for example, like DOT yesterday hitting the CC, well, you know, it gives a trade. So you look at each altcoin individually based off of the chart, not just like, oh, Bitcoin might do this, let's just go randomly into the altcoins. So at the end of the day, you know, one would imagine altcoins do perform well if Bitcoin's sideways, but at the end of the day, you still have to do each trade off of each altcoin chart. So there's not just a collect answer from myself that I would ever say of generically, all altcoins are going to generically do well. So I guess you could foresee that they are going to potentially do well with the Bitcoin range, but at the end of the day, you need to trade each altcoin chart individually for the setups that are on that individual chart. Yeah, hope that makes sense. How likely do I think it is to touch the big CC off a log scale? Obviously, it's going to be quite low down. $11,000. Well, we have to say to ourselves at the moment it's pretty unlikely, and the probabilities are very, very low, we would say, in terms of what's the likelihood or probabilities of hitting like $11,000. And we could say, why are the probabilities so low? Well, there's a lot of support prior to this. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you can be aware of this, and I know some people in the group are waiting for like $13,000 and $10,000. So, you know, at the end of the day, though, that's just hopium, isn't it? It's just like hoping that you hit, you know, that you get the buy-in of 10 grand. Is it likely? Well, we have to say at the moment, of course, it's not very likely. What would increase the likelihood? What would increase probabilities? Well, breaking massive support levels. Obviously, a big and most obvious one is $20,000 prior all-time high. You know, if you come back into the old range and back into $20,000, well, you have to think then the probabilities are greatly increased that you hit the global CC on the log scale. But while we're trading at, you know, $35,000, we have to say it's pretty unlikely that we're going to see these levels. Not impossible, of course, nothing's impossible, but it's not very likely. Like we say, everything is possible, but is it probable? And I would say at the current, you know, viewpoint of the market, then no, it's not very probable. But we start to break down supports, then, you know, it becomes more and more probable. Could you clarify which ticks? So yeah, that's fine, I can do, mate. You can see here, this is on the daily, 50 ticks. This is on the weekly, 60 ticks. And this is on the monthly, 100 ticks. This can be adjusted. You do not have to use the exact numbers that I'm using, but obviously you can see the tick number is increasing the higher the time frame, and that's you know, standard sort of procedure. The bigger the time frame, the bigger the range, the higher the ticks. So yeah, those are the tick sizes I use if you want to copy me. But never one tick, or when I'm looking at the volume profile, I would never. You know, I don't have any of my templates set to one tick. Obviously, I do for this. These marker settings are set to one tick, but that's like day trades. That's your previous day sort of stuff on the lower term time frames. On your volume profile charts, you know, you're going to use a lot higher tick sizes. Um, not sure what you're asking here, mate. No, oh right, I do see what you mean. So he's basically asking, doesn't wave 2 have to go lower than wave 1? And the answer is no, because if we're looking at a running flat, then you could have wave 1 here, then an A, B, C running flat. And you can see that it's slightly ending below, because if you're looking at wave 1 ending at, let's just say, $10,400-ish here. So if we were saying this is wave 1 and this is a running flat in wave 2, well then obviously that running flat is ending at $9,800. So it is ending below anyway. But the way I was obviously labeling this, again for the contenders that aren't aware, was a wave 1 and then a sort of, so we call this like a running flat, because obviously the market is so bullish, you don't break this low. So you look at this, as a very, 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 very bullish correction, and obviously in hindsight it's very easy to say that, but that's the way that you label it, like a running flat. And running flat means very, very, very bullish, because it doesn't even have the strength to come down equally or lower. You build a higher low. So yes, hopefully that answers your question. I believe it does. And here we have another sheet. No, I personally would say no. You don't need to be using log scale here. I mean, you could take both, but I personally am not using log scale to pull for any of for this. I personally am not, because yes, the volatility is high, but it's not very far back in the past. So yeah, really, really, really good question. And I suppose you can take both. You could take a log scale here. You can take, this is obviously on standard scale, and then you could take a pull off of the log scale, and compare. The differences are not massive, but they obviously are a little bit. But yeah, I mean, in my opinion, you do not need to be using log scale. Well, I'm not using log scale on this. I'm not going to say you can't, and it's not right. Obviously, you can. It's kind of a personal preference here. I would say there's no need to use log scale on this price action. Yeah, the volatility is quite big, but it's such a recent price action. For me, that wouldn't really warrant log scale on this section of the chart. But at the end of the day, you really can use both. There's not a hard rule against saying incorrect. Okay. Is it possible the bump and run is still in play? Well, there's obviously a few different pools that you could use for the bump and run. Obviously, the answer is yes, the bump and run is still in play. And there's two major pools that you'd look for this. The first one is this, which is the most obvious one, of course. Connecting the two highs, breaking down, putting in a bottoming pattern down here potentially before breaking the trend line and seeing a run to new all-time highs. It's got a lot of work to do, don't get me wrong, so don't get too excited. But yeah, this would be the most obvious bump and run pattern, okay? But you need to break out this trend line, which is very, very, very far away right now. The other one that you could be looking at on a more like a longer term time frame is obviously this trend line, but I've not looked at this one recently, so let's see actually what this one is doing. Looks like we have broken this trend line then. So, okay, so for me, breaking this trend line, this is an Elliott wave trend line. So for me, this just signals that we are, basically in a correct, you could say, obviously the thing is that this is now very distorted. So originally I was looking at this as a 1, 2, 3, putting in a wave 4 here, but this is taking way too long. So this is no longer correlated with this price action. So in terms of Elliott waves, this is totally not valid. This is not a valid 1, 2, 3, 4, because the time of this is like not correlated to this price action, like 100%. There's just no correlation between this now. That the times are way too off. So this trend line obviously becomes less relevant in that regards, because this is definitely not anymore a valid Elliott wave. So obviously this loses relevance, but at the end of the day, no, I basically would say that this is a much less relevant trend line, basically because of the amount of time that you've gone sideways here in correlation to this, basically invalidates the Elliott wave trend line. This one though is 100% still valid. And this, this would be much more valid to say that bump and run. So I think this one is the one you'd look at now. Of course, the other one gave a good reaction. You know, if you bought the break of the trend line, I mean, you're in profits. But yeah, for me, it's not that important anymore. Well, let's say, for example, the easiest way to explain would be a naked point of control. No? So if we have a naked point of control up here at $48,000, you have to say that that's where a lot of prior transaction was, transacted. A lot of volume was transacted there. So, the theory is if that was a really high place of people buying and selling, well, let's imagine lots of people were buying at that level. If price rises to that level where they can get out break even, well, they're going to then sell break even, which causes the decline in price. So that's the most simplest and easiest way to try and, think about why point of controls get reactions. People getting out break even, as well as traders like myself that would be thinking, hey, there's actually a technical reason to want to try and trade on it. So you got people getting out break even, and you got traders like myself that would view that as an opportunity to, short essentially. So those are the two reasons really. And that is all the questions. I would honestly say, like, for Victor's update, which he done on Friday, is 100% still valid. It was literally done on Friday, and the guy's a genius, to be honest. So, I think if you're looking for a Bitcoin update, Victor literally done a very good update. And, this guy is really amazing. So, yeah, I just kind of urge you, if you haven't already, watch Victor's update. He's probably been paying more attention to the charts recently than me anyway, to be fair. Even when he's been on holiday, I've really been a little bit disconnected on the day trades. I've really not been, my head's just totally not really in it at the moment. So, yeah, I really would just, kind of recommend you to watch Victor's update. I mean, my opinion on this is we are literally just totally range bound. So, that's pretty easy for me to just literally say that I believe we're range bound. And in that regards, I would say it's more probable that we're heading back up to the high of the range. Okay, what would stop this? Well, obviously these lower highs that are continuously being put in. So, most simplest thing for me as well, naturally I would expect, to be honest with you, a break to the high of this range. That's what I would think is going to happen. But obviously we need to break these lower highs. So the trade setup, I suppose, here would be break these lower highs, yeah, and then you're looking back up to around $43,000. Pretty simple stuff in my regards. Yeah. Obviously, if we still hold these lower highs, well, then we put in this descending triangle. So I mean, the setups are really simple. To be honest with you. Yeah, I think it's pretty simple the way that you trade this. You're going to either look to break the lower highs and then back up to the top of the range and treat it as a range, or, which I kind of feel is less likely, that we put in the descending triangle, and, well, we put in a descending triangle. It's as simple as that, really. So, yeah, that's what I would be looking at here. I think I would prefer to see a rotation to the top of the range, but if it doesn't, then it's pretty obvious what we have going on here, and it's a descending triangle-esque pattern, so yeah, in my opinion, in that regards, it's a lot more simple. Oh yes, I was going to tell you all actually. I am debating to make another room inside of here. So we have charts only, Bitcoin TA, and then Bitcoin discussion or something like this. So then you have charts, which is obviously charts only, Bitcoin TA, which is going to be for I want to say like high level TA of people that have studied the modules, people that know what they're on about, sort of thing. Like, you know, I would say like high level TA. So there's not questions in here and there's not opinions. It's just really, you know, high level technical analysis. And then a new room created that's called Bitcoin discussion, where you can kind of more freely discuss Bitcoin without getting moderated in here of saying stop discussing Bitcoin, it's not the place for it, you know. So that's kind of my, you'll have to let me know in a comment what you think of this, but I'm thinking about making another one then, because general chat is full of memes, and I like the memes, and I'm obviously a massive troll myself, so you know, I cannot hate, you know, I cannot say we're going to remove that because I enjoy it too much as well. But I do think that general chat is hard place. The more, obviously now we have thousands of members, so it's kind of, general chat is, you know, if you ask a good trading question, it gets lost, because there's just like, you know, there's just messages every minute. There's a new message, so the good questions do get lost. So I feel like we could have Bitcoin charts only, which I think is brilliant. I love the charts only. Like, I literally come in here and look at charts myself. Like, I love the charts only, and I think it's extremely helpful. But I feel Bitcoin TA can be improved by potentially having another room, which is then the charts only, which I think is perfect at the moment. Then we have Bitcoin TA, which is going to be more high level TA from people that kind of know what, you know, basically people that have studied the modules. And then we have Bitcoin discussion, which is more for your entry level / you know, more, I don't want to say like newbie questions or anything, but just, you know, a place where people can basically discuss Bitcoin. And then you have general chat, which is literally just general chat. So people cannot be like, hey, I had my question missed, and I was asking a Bitcoin question in general chat, and all I got was like a troll response. Because obviously there's so many trolls in general chat, you know, it's just trolling and memes. And so I think people get really confused because they're like, hey, Daniel, you said this in general chat. And it's like, is he joking? Is he, you know, obviously it's really hard to know, isn't it? So I think if we have a proper Bitcoin discussion chat, and you know, we'll say there's no memes allowed in you know, Bitcoin discussion, there's no trolling, there's no memes, and there's none of this. So yeah, I think it's a little bit more, I don't know. Let me know what you think of that. I'm happy to make another room. We can like trial it for a week. If people like it, then it can stay. If people hate it, then yeah, we can just get back to what it's like now, you know. So yeah, let me know about that. Just write like something in general chat, and I'll read through all the comments. But I personally think it will work. I personally think it will work, and I suppose even, you know, we'll probably trial it for a week. But yeah, give me some feedback, because at the end of the day, yeah, I kind of need what you guys and girls think. So yeah, with that said, I hope you have a really good evening. Yeah, my opinion is look for the descending triangle if we hold the lower highs. If we break the lower highs, look back up to around 43k. Simple as that, really. It doesn't have to be more complicated. It really, 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 really doesn't. So yeah, thanks everybody. Hope you have a good evening, and catch you tomorrow, obviously, for the Champions live stream, where, you know, I will go more in depth. We'll obviously, you know, delete all the technical analysis, do it all from scratch, and, you know, build up the chart again. So yeah, I'll catch you all tomorrow for more motivated, more you know, in-depth analysis. For now, it literally is descending triangle or range, and it's as simple as that. So yeah, cheers everybody. I'll catch you all tomorrow, and yeah, let me know what you think in general chat about that idea. Cheers, bye.